Hey, everybody. I'm not going to talk about what Jennifer and I were just talking about. I'm sure Eric would want
No.
us to, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we are going to finish up, hopefully, just different question about Eric's afterlife with my lovely, wonderful friend and talented medium, Jennifer Doran, and the information description box, but also on a splash screen. So be aware of that. Now, hi, Eric. I love you.
Hello, I love you too. It's
So we'll go on with questions from the community.
yes.
I'm on question 49, people. Jesus.
Oh, nice.
And there are 70 of them. Oh, no, 79 of them. We might have to do an extra part over this. Anyway, let's go ahead and see if we can get most of these done. This person says, I've watched your video about Akashic Records. Does anyone have access to all of the records of all beings in the universe and beyond?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Um, he says there's some keepers is
Oh,
is what he's is the word he's using with me
interesting.
for them. So there's also like if Jesus walked in the Akashic records, he could have access to anything um he wanted to see. There are
Oh,
souls that are so highly evolved that they can see. Now, what he's saying is they don't have like the conscious knowledge all the time, but
yeah.
yes, there are beings that can see whatever they
Tap
want to
into it
see.
anytime they
Uh-huh.
want. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I just want to know, are dinosaur lives in the Akashic records or just,
Yes.
oh, cool. Everything pretty much.
Yes.
Wow. That's
Yes.
so cool.
Sorry.
All right.
Did
So
that just pop into your head to ask about the dinosaurs? I'm just curious.
what?
Did
Yeah,
it, did
popped into
it
my soul. Yeah, just popped into my
just
brain.
okay? Just I have a right now in the last couple of weeks, I have a running joke with dinosaurs, like this just a running thing with dinosaurs. So I just was curious if you,
Oh, I channeled that from
yeah,
you maybe.
yes, you did for sure.
All right. How many split souls, Eric, does your higher self have right now? Or do you?
Split souls, are you asking about souls that are living a life right now?
No, no. I mean, I think what I'm saying is, well, I don't know what this person means, but I'm thinking, how you split yourself off, Eric, to help various people, and you can be in infinite places at once.
Yes. Okay. So what he's saying about that is actually different. It's like so he's saying like when you split off and live lives, that's one thing. Okay. So
Okay,
like
so we'll
the
ask
higher
that
self
too
stays
then.
yes, so the higher self stays over there and then there can be multiple lives going on at a time. Right now he's saying he's all together.
Okay.
Okay. And so from spirit from where he is you're not he says it's not the same as like when you split off because when you split off and have a life you don't have access to all your information,
Oh,
so even though he's says like multiple places all at once he has
yeah.
all the information all the time from his
Okay.
higher self, so it's a little bit different is what he says.
Interesting. Well, what's the usual person? I guess this explains a little bit better. How many split souls per higher self on average do people have?
He is definitely making a distinguished difference for me. So again, it's back to the splitting off. He's referring to more like when you're coming into incarnations, and that he says sometimes people have two, three,
Okay.
four going on at a time. But
All
when you're
right.
over here, you're not really splitting off from the higher self.
Oh, okay. I got it. All right.
Okay.
Since all spirits need to train in the spiritual world, be it communications, changing the temperature, etc. So far, have you seen any spirits that have achieved most of these abilities? And what are those abilities like?
So I it's funny because again, for clarification purposes, he's he's saying when if you're asking about what the souls on the other side can manifest in the physical world when they're still over there, is that do you believe that's the question that's being
Or
asked here?
anything, any kind of abilities.
Okay.
Are there any spirits that just can do it all? Jack of all
Yes.
trades, master of none.
Yes, there
Cool.
are. There are, but he is saying, just like when you're living your human lives, there are still certain things that are just easier. Like that
Yeah.
just like pretty good at doing pretty much anything. You know, like he can do
Move
a lot of it. He
stuff
can,
and yeah.
yes, he can communicate using all the clairs.
Oh,
He can, do stuff here, but he's saying, like creating the fart smell is incredibly easy for him. So it's like
I
it's
bet. He's
almost
had a
like
lot of practice before he died.
yes. Yes, he doesn't have to really think about that one. Whereas, manifesting, so somebody might be able to see a silhouette of him or see him, that takes a lot more practice,
Yeah.
even though I can do it, it still takes practice.
Yeah.
And also sometimes some of this stuff he says is done with like a team over there. Like say for instance, you lose somebody that you love and you really
Are you there? Oh, there you are
yes,
back again.
yes, I had lost you again.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times I don't think it's me. I don't think it's my end.
I don't know. I have full bars, but it is probably me.
I do
Ever
too
since
have full
Lucas did
bars.
something with the server, it's like been iffy.
Yeah. Can Paula edit that stuff out?
Oh
So I
yeah,
was
I'm
just
sure.
like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So learning stuff, you can ask other souls on the other side to help you manifest something over here. But there's also like, certain souls have no don't have interest
Yeah.
in
Okay.
that sort of thing. But yes, Eric is saying he's pretty good. Like as far as like all the clairs, he can definitely communicate through all the clairs,
Okay.
manifesting physical stuff down here too, dropping, physical objects
Yeah.
out of the ether, that sort of thing.
So, what is the most powerful or the strangest ability that a spirit can achieve, in your opinion, Eric?
The strangest ability. Strangest ability. Well, um, he's not really saying that anything is like so
Can you
strange.
bring a dead bird back to life, for example, on the earth? That's weird.
No,
Okay.
no. I mean, no. In theory, yes, they could. They don't.
Was
They
contractually not a good idea. All right, that's
Yeah.
fine. We'll skip that
Yes.
one.
So I will say this, he was giving me something, but it's kind of like one of those things he says, it's all been around for so long, none of it's really strange anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And I do apologize for this, but being able to create a sexual stimulation
Oh, yeah.
for human
That's
is a
strange.
yes, it's
Oh,
a
wow. I've heard.
yes.
I've heard people
Yes.
experience that.
It's kind of a little bit of more of the outer edges
Yeah,
of
I guess so.
stuff, what they do.
Just use
Yes.
protection. Have
Yes.
any spirits shocked you at all, Eric? Or
Have any
yeah.
spirits shocked him?
Mhm. Or
So,
that you have the utmost respect for also? I guess those are two questions.
what he's actually saying is that because there is still the collective, the collective still has free will. There is collective free will down here still. So he is saying from spirit, there have been some things down here that they were maybe surprised that they went the direction that they did. Do you
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Like when you get to the forks in the road, maybe it was surprising that it went this way instead of that
Oh,
way.
yeah.
So there's that sort of thing. Now from spirit, I mean, there's a lot of souls he has, a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
Um, being able to list off the famous people and the names.
That's okay. Not necessary. But
Um,
there are.
yes, yes, there are. But from he says it's really about the souls what we do when nobody's looking. It really is. And he
Okay.
says the same kind of goes over there. Like for some reason he keeps talking about Abraham Lincoln. So
Okay.
that's one I'll give you.
Okay.
Um and so there are souls on the other side that are not aggressively growing their
Okay.
themselves.
All right.
Eric is not in that category. And so he says those are the kind of souls that he's most impressed by the souls that are still actively trying to really bring the collective into the
Oh,
light
yeah.
more. Yeah,
Okay.
this is what impresses him the most.
All right. How far can you go as a spirit, and how fast are you able to travel the furthest end of your limit? I'm thinking it's just pure thought. You're
It's
instantaneously
yeah,
there, right?
yes, it is.
Is there a
Yes.
limit to what a spirit can? Is there a limit a spirit can go and or do? Are there any limits?
He's saying it's really pretty limitless.
I figured.
It's
Okay. How? What is the most common? No, no. How common are wars out there in the universe as of now? Like
in
galactic.
comparison to Earth, less common.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay? So how many wars are going on? One or two or
Battles.
battles?
He's saying battles, not necessarily wars.
Okay.
Um, so there's a handful, but this is still the most volatile, the most
Yeah.
battles, the most wars, the most um
Yeah.
whatever, water and oil
Skirmishes, all
type
that.
feel. Yes.
So, what's the most common reason for a war in the universe?
The most common reason he's saying is still territorial.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
still some territorial
Wow. So,
things,
what is the most?
although he is saying that they're fought more intellectually.
Oh,
There is
okay.
still there is still fighting and this sort of thing,
Yeah.
but it's not as down and dirty, he says,
Oh,
the
yeah.
other. Yeah.
Wow. But they still can use weapons. Still do use.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
Think they'd be more evolved by now.
Well, it really is more like trying to mind manipulation, trying to get you convinced that my way is the best way. There is a lot more of that, but yes, there are weapons out there, and the rest of the whatever
All right.
universes.
I had to mute. The dogs are barking. I
Yes.
don't know what. What's the most common ET race out there? And which one do you think is holding the most power and
This
rules
is a
over more
terrible
areas of the
question for
universe?
me. This is
I know, I know, I know.
I don't know. I just
Okay.
don't know enough of the names
How about
to
Dracos? The Dracos. Are they holding a lot of power in the universe, Eric? Just a yes or no?
no, no, not a lot.
Okay. Is
Not
it the ones that are holding the most power? Are they benevolent or nefarious?
No, they're benevolent. The ones
Oh,
that hold the
good.
most power are benevolent.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, what are the strangest hobbies or activities you have experienced, Eric, as a spirit?
the strangest hobbies or activities. That's a fun question, he said. The strangest hobbies.
I know you went surfing on the sun. I think that's pretty strange.
Yes, yes. Um,
But it just
the strangest hobbies or activities. Give me a second because he's trying to give me
showing
something.
pictures. Okay.
Yeah. So let's come back to that.
Okay.
Go to the next question.
All right. What happens if a spirit chose to break the divine law, as you have mentioned before? I don't think there's punishment, is there?
No, no, there are repercussions, which I guess is kind of splitting hairs, but repercussions are different than punishments. So repercussions, he said, could set your soul growth back,
Oh, okay.
which I mean, I guess you could look at that as a punishment, but
Yeah.
it's not really.
Okay. All right,
It's
that makes
not
sense.
really a punishment, and it's also not something that is vastly like out of control and happening a ton.
Okay. In the state that you are in, it just what are your duties? You have council meetings? I mean, since you're up there, well, there's no hierarchy, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, as far as how evolved, I mean, there are souls that are more evolved than others.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
not necessarily, he said it doesn't necessarily make one better than the other. It doesn't,
Okay.
but it does create levels. For earthly purposes, we like time frames, we
I
like
know. We got
that kind of
labels.
thing.
Yeah.
So yes. Um, so yeah, there is, yes, like
Okay.
meetings and yeah.
Probably lessons.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm still asking him strangest hobbies or activities. And again, it's like it's not that anything is like strange.
Yeah.
It's like I guess more unique. I don't know
Okay.
what
What would
this
we find strange? Not you,
well,
maybe.
certainly surfing on the sun would be would
Let's
be
just go with that.
would be strange. So exploring, I guess we would find this strange, like being able to just explore another planet like that.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, so you're gonna travel and you're gonna go see, this sort of thing. He keeps referencing like animals, but like animals that aren't necessarily of the earthly
Okay.
planet, and this sort of thing. He says there are like hobbies where okay, I got it now. Like where people, it's not taxidermy, okay? He says it's not
Okay.
taxidermy,
Okay.
but where people have like models of animals from different planets, and he
Oh,
says there
wow.
are some creepy stuff out there for
I
sure.
bet.
So he said that's kind of like, for some that's like just not your cup of tea
Yeah, really.
necessarily. Like, you know, like there's creepy stuff here, that you just
I
wouldn't
know.
want
Oh, wow. That's
necessarily. And so
amazing.
that kind of stuff, he says for him, some of that kind of creeps him out. I don't know if he cared for creepy crawlies when he was here, but on a soul level, it's not really his
Probably
favorite
not.
thing.
Are there any other celestial beings other than angels, the nine ranks, I guess, nine ranks, the Elohim that you have seen? Tell me more about all kinds of celestial beings. There's angels, there's the Elohim, there's Archangel Michael's entire dominion, the Rainbow Ray Guardians of Light. Any others that you want to talk about?
So not necessarily there, but he's talking about like what do we call them? The ones like in the forest, like the Fae and
Oh,
the
yeah, elementals.
yeah, yes, the elementals. He says there's some really pretty cool like elemental stuff out there that maybe we haven't even heard of on Earth.
Okay.
The celestial, it's almost like it's he almost kind of puts them like not really celestial, but like in that different
Oh,
beings sort of category. Um, but nothing different than the ones that were mentioned as far as the angels and the archangels and the the light beings. I mean, he says it's super cool. And somebody, maybe it's the light beings he's talking about. He says it's hard to understand them. Sometimes the pitch is very, very high.
okay. Oh,
Um, so he says, so that's kind of interesting because sometimes you have to like go and he's talking about like when you do meet with some of these beings, like even some of the angels, you have to, because you can meet with them if you want, you have to go almost like into some sort of a chamber
oh,
setting. For some, perhaps maybe beings that aren't quite as evolved to be able to really understand them and communicate with them because it sounds different. There's something
oh,
that's
okay.
kind of cool. Yeah.
Interesting. Uh, what's the highest dimension you can access right now?
Erik, what's the highest dimension Erik can access?
Yeah.
He tells me he's got pretty much free range. He can access, he might not stay or remain there, but he can
And
access.
are there infinite dimensions? Or are there just the 12 dimensions that have been spoken about?
So he what was that? Is that a dog or something in the background? Or do I hear
It's
a man's
somebody
voice?
talking, Maria.
Okay, I'm like, you know how that is. It's like, what is that?
I
What's going on
know.
there?
Yeah. You never know in my family.
So he's basically saying that because of the category thing, everything can be fit into those 12 dimensions. Now there are subcategories within them, is how he's
Okay.
putting it.
All
Okay.
right. Hey, I'm going to pause just for a second because I got to tell Maria something real quick. Let
Okay.
me see. Where's it done? Dang. Pause. We're back. All right. Do spirits travel the same speed or based on what the dimensions they're able to access?
Yeah, so it would change based
Okay.
on what they can access, and really more where they can go. As far as like being able to instantly be places, he said that's pretty much the same. It's just where can you go, you
Okay.
know?
So I heard in one of the videos, the higher dimensions are quieter and have less drama. Does that also mean the higher dimensional beings aren't able to see the lower dimensions till they lower their own vibration?
No, he says not necessarily. You can it's there's not like this segregation of the dimensions.
Yeah,
So higher dimension beings can see the lower dimension beings, and they can all be around each other. It's not
not
like,
a
okay,
layer.
well, yeah, well, you're in dimension 12, so you are over here, and you're in dimension
Yeah, right.
9, so you're here, and you guys can't. It's not like that. It's not
Oh,
like
okay.
that. He's and segregation is the word. He said we're not segregated.
But probably the lower dimensional beings are have trouble seeing the higher dimensional beings, right?
Um, it no, he says not
Okay.
necessarily, because it's like so we're talking strictly anything that has crossed over, nothing that's stuck
Yeah,
here, or nothing that's stuck elsewhere, because he says there are ghosts in other dimensions,
yeah,
other planets.
yeah.
So anything that's over here, because he says the idea is like you want to see what your growth could bring to you,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that, so it's like motivational, and this we learn from each other.
Yeah.
So it is not this segregated type of situation. Now, this
Okay.
also doesn't mean that every single soul over there knows every other soul. That's not the case either. Like
Okay.
you have your regions and your areas and your souls that you know, and yes, there are areas where there are more higher dimension beings and areas where
Okay.
there are more lower dimension beings.
Are there any things that are interesting that you've seen in space that we've never heard about or seen or
Oh yeah.
heard about?
Yeah, space
Like,
and in the sea.
where?
In the sea,
Oh, in
in the
the ocean.
ocean.
Yeah, too.
Yes.
But in space, what's a
Yeah.
weird
Oh.
thing that we don't even know about?
Um Honestly, he said there is so much more extraterrestrial stuff, the technology, um the just the other types of planets or
Yeah.
stars, and this all this stuff that we just haven't seen. I mean, he said there's basically like, so we think of UFOs a lot of times as like big things. He says there's like single pod, like tiny little things where they can just like, zip around and like cars, but
Oh,
up in
wow.
space. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Same within the sea, but
So
that's
cool.
yeah.
Can you explain more about what is the reason for us to merge back to source? I mean, if we all merge back to source, what will source do afterwards?
That that he said is not, if you merge in with source, you can come back out.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's never going to just be source, just, and then all of us are back in there.
Okay.
You can merge in and come back out, and there really isn't any intention for that ever ending.
Okay,
That
good.
that
I
It's
like
like,
that.
what
That
he's
sounds
showing me is
boring. Just
yeah, no.
yeah.
Like Grand Central, like there's Grand
Yeah.
Central stations never, the activity's never stopping, you
Mm,
know. So it's
okay.
like that.
Uh our is our end journey only to merge back to source?
No.
No, I didn't think so. It's just to keep evolving.
Yes.
Are there any abilities that spirits can do that angels can't? Probably not.
Um,
Except maybe
so
incarnate.
for some reason completely was gone. What was that question? I don't know where I went,
Are there
but
any abilities that a spirit can do, like my dad's in spirit, for example, that an angel can't do?
yeah, spirit can come back in and live a full-on
There we
life,
go.
start to finish. Yes.
Since I've learned that each source has its own universe, are you and the angels part? Eric, are you and the angels part of the same source as us in that are in the universe, this universe?
Yes.
Okay. Are
Yes,
there other source systems?
no, he says it's all ultimately one
Source.
source.
I got you.
Yes.
Interesting. Are there planets that have more population than ours here?
Yeah, but they're much bigger.
Yeah. Are there any planets that only have one being stranded there? This is cool questions.
Are
Almost
there any
finished.
planets that have one being?
That'd be lonely.
No,
No.
no, he says no. No, there's no place with just one being.
Okay. Are there any darker realms or planets that are far worse than Earth?
No,
Oh my God.
no,
All right. Why is
no.
there
Earth is bad. Earth is wonderful, but Earth is pretty bad.
it's very
The
challenging,
worst of what
very
we do
dense.
to each other,
Yeah.
it happens here on Earth.
Well,
In
that's why
quantity
that's why it's the
of
best ways to have best place to have the human experience, right?
yes. Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Why is there a need for dimensions to exist to separate the evolution of souls, but yet at the same time be together, if I'm not wrong?
It's this is that's human. We humans need structure. That
Yeah.
he said that's why it's not as big of a deal over there as it is here. Just like anniversaries, birthday, that sort of stuff isn't as big of a deal there as it is here. We need it because we are linear. We are here from the start of our
Yes.
life to the finish.
Right.
So categories, time frames, that helps us.
Levels, we have to have them.
Yes.
It's a human construct, in
It's
other
the
words.
human brain. That's yes, that's how the human brain functions for the most part.
Okay. Why is there two more questions? Why is there a need for crossing over? Like, what's the difference between before crossing over and after? Why do we have to cross over into the afterlife?
So he says, the death, the transition, you're just transitioning from the physical human life into the spirit world, which, is not really all that different, except for it doesn't have all the negativity. Like it's different, but he says the crossing over the transition is different. Some people just wake up over there. Some people actually go into the light. Some people have souls come get them, and it just depends on what they need.
Okay.
Okay, so sometimes it's just instantaneous because you don't need the actual help getting over there. You don't need the time to adjust. Sometimes you go into darkness for a bit and then
Yeah.
you wake up because you need it's almost like an equilibrium being set. It just
Oh,
depends. So
okay.
so the transition is really to prep you from this to that,
Oh.
depending on what you need.
Last question. If a demon, rogue angel, or alien gets unruly and not following protocol, whatever that is, who is the one powerful being or entity they must obey that they are afraid of, if any? And what happens to them if they don't obey?
Um, so so Eric is actually saying that it's different. So it's not just one, like one particular, low vibration soul or demon, if you will. There might be somebody, a soul on the other side, like a soulmate
Yeah.
or a soul that they really love that they would listen to.
Mm.
Um, it's not I guess they can be like smited, so to speak. I feel
Yeah. I
like
smudged you.
there, yes. So that can happen. Like this would be like the type of situation where there was a story he's reminding me of where uh some astronauts were in space and they saw somebody had released a weapon, and they saw an extraterrestrial craft
Oh.
take
Mhm.
it. Do you remember
Yeah.
that story? It's
Yeah,
from
I
like
do. Barely.
so there are beings out there. There is a checks and balances
Oh,
system.
good.
So these kind of things are actually happening.
Wow.
They're happening. The stuff like this does happen. It is happening. It is a lot of times he says it's a human who's initiated something so horrendous that it has to be intervened.
Okay.
Sometimes it's I guess a demon or something like that, or an extraterrestrial, or something where there are checks and balances of either beings who are incarnated someplace who can intervene, or on the other side who can intervene.
Well, I
It's
know
like this.
Archangel Michael
Yes,
can
yes. And this is
whip
like the
them
Good
into shape.
Samaritan stuff, when a Good Samaritan is on an accident scene and they save this person's life and then
Yeah.
nobody can find that. It's like that. Like
Oh,
they
wow.
can intervene. Now, that's typically, not always, an angel who has incarnated into human form quickly to intervene in something.
So they can't really
Um,
incarnate and live a full life, but they can incarnate to do something
yes,
and then back to the angelic
yes,
realm. Okay.
yes, because if we're to go wildly off track,
Yeah.
it's like he says you're basically bowling with some bumpers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So if we were to go so wildly off track, there are checks and balances that will save us because
Yeah, thank God.
yeah, we're not looking at the end of Earth, every human dying because we've ruined everything, and
Yeah.
that's this. We're not looking at that again. At least not. Yes.
All right. So, anything else you want to say before we close, Eric, about your life in the afterlife and, well, anything on this topic?
Yeah. He goes, yeah, it's awesome. So
What?
he goes, yeah, it's awesome. He's like,
Oh,
it's
okay. Well,
yeah. So he just no, he's just he's a little playful today. A little high energy.
he's
So
higher
he's
than normal. Woo.
yeah, yeah, a little bit. No, he just says, it really is all going to be okay. Like it
Yeah.
really, really is. And he said, humans forget that. Like you forget that.
Mhm.
It is all going to be okay. Everything you ask about, everything you wonder about. You might not like the way it goes, you might not like what happens, but
But in the end, it'll be
ultimately
all right.
it's yes. Yes.
Well,
And he says we
Aunt Terry came over, as you know, for a surprise visit
yes.
from California. Totally shocked me, people. I looked at her and I didn't even
Yeah.
recognize her because it was not in my possible realm of reality that she would be there. So, you gonna prank her?
Yeah, absolutely. She needs some TLC.
Yeah, I know she does.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Jennifer. You guys check her out in the description box and the splash screen that will, or maybe it's already happened. But anyway, be sure you subscribe, people. Love you. Love you,
Love
Eric.
you.
Love you, Jennifer. Love
Thank
you
you.
all.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.